While most directors like to stay behind the camera and let their actors take center stage, there's still plenty of filmmakers who can't help but go in front of the camera, if even for a moment. Some directors, like Quentin Tarantino and Kevin Smith, like to ham it up with the screen time of a supporting player, while others remain subtle with their blink and you'll miss them moment. Here are 10 mind-blowing hidden director cameos in movies. Wes Craven in Scream. 1996's Scream is known for its self-aware characters and horror film references.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror movie.
There are plenty of scenes and character names that are thinly veiled homages to classic horror films. One of the most blatant film references includes a quick moment showing a janitor dressed up as a Nightmare on Elm Street's Freddy Krueger. The actor donning the classic green and red striped sweater is none other than director Wes Craven. Of course, this moment is more than just a sneaky way to get Craven on screen, it also serves as a tribute to the Freddy character that he created over a decade before Scream. Wes Craven was never camera shy, making the occasional cameo in his own films, and even writing and directing a film which centers on a fictional version of himself in 1994's Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Alfred Hitchcock in The Birds. Alfred Hitchcock was the master of horror, who was known for his many fears and phobias. Terrifying his audiences was his primary goal, but that desire never got in the way of artful storytelling. Hitchcock never aspired to do any serious acting in his films, and had even claimed that actors were merely glorified props, but he certainly wanted to make his presence known. His cameos became his signature, and one of the more obvious ones can be seen in 1963's The Birds. In the scene, Hitchcock exits the same pet shop that actress Tippi Hedren is entering. Along with the director are his two real-life dogs, Jeffrey and Stanley. Like most of his cameos, Hitchcock does his best to blend in with the crowd, but it is impossible not to notice that famous silhouette. James Gunn in Guardians of the Galaxy. For 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy, Vin Diesel had to reportedly record I am Groot 1,000 times for the character with a limited vocabulary. I am Groot! For Baby Groot, no dialogue was needed, just some awesome dance moves to the soundtrack of the Jackson 5's I Want You Back. Director James Gunn recorded his own dance moves for the animators to use for Baby Groot. The post-credit sequence became extremely popular and resulted in a dancing toy. Peter Jackson in The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King. Peter Jackson's name has become synonymous with hobbits and Middle-earth, but the Kiwi director has been an accomplished filmmaker for decades. Not wanting his actors to have all the fun, Jackson has made cameo appearances of varying screen time since his earlier films, including Dead Alive, Heavenly Creatures, and The Frighteners. The Lord of the Rings films took nearly a year to film, yet the lengthy and exhausting process didn't keep Jackson from making his regular cameos, for which he did in each of the 3 films. His most notable cameo appears in The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King as one of the Corsairs of Umbar. In the theatrical version, he can only be seen walking on the deck, but in the extended version, Jackson accidentally gets shot by Legolas, which is intended as a warning shot, which is a pretty memorable way to meet his end. John Hughes in The Breakfast Club. For many, John Hughes was more than a director, he was an entire genre of film. The teen films by Hughes in the 1980s have become classics and the template for similar films in the decades since. The director would often leave subtle clues to leave his mark, such as license plates adorning his birthday or references to his other movies. For The Breakfast Club, Hughes made his mark by appearing as the father of Anthony Michael Hall's Bryan, who picks him up after a life-changing day of detention. Martin Scorsese in Taxi Driver. For the 1976 film Taxi Driver, Martin Scorsese's cameo came from necessity rather than amusement. The actor who was originally hired to play the character was unavailable.
Why won't you talk to me? Why won't you talk to me? Why don't you answer my calls when I call? You think I don't know you're here?
Rather than finding a replacement at the last minute, Scorsese took on the role himself. As a demented passenger of Robert De Niro's Travis Bickle, Scorsese describes in sick detail how he's going to kill his wife after discovering she's cheating on him. Just like most of the film, the interaction is unsettling and bleak.
I know you must think that I'm, you must think I'm pretty sick or something. You must think I'm pretty sick.
Scorsese's cameo is not exactly hidden, but he manages to blend in with the film as a legitimate character, which many directors are unable to do when acting in their own film. For Scorsese, he managed to hide in plain sight. Kevin Smith in Red State. Kevin Smith has never shied away from the camera with his own films. Even the character he's best known for, Silent Bob, can't keep quiet for the entirety of a film despite his name.
No ticket.
Smith uses his character often as the mute observer to the overly verbose Jay, and supplies other characters with his wisdom before returning to his silent self. For 2011's Red State, Smith made a departure from his New Jersey comedies to make a film with action, horror, and a new set of characters in which Silent Bob would not quite fit in.
No, sir.
This didn't stop Smith from making a traditional director cameo. For Red State, he was not the man who was seen and not heard, but instead was the man heard and not seen. The final scene of the film, in which a lunatic pastor played by Michael Parks begins to sing and sermonize while pacing his jail cell, comes to an end when a fellow prisoner tells him to shut up in more Smith-appropriate language. It's Kevin Smith who gets his cameo and the last word.
And the only thing that scares me is Kaiser Soze.
Bryan Singer in The Usual Suspects. In the 1995 crime drama The Usual Suspects, the major mystery surrounding the film is, who is Kaiser Soze? As it turns out, sometimes it was director Bryan Singer. In the film, there are multiple shots that show Soze's hands, legs, and back. Rather than having an actor stand in for these moments, Singer shot himself in the role. The low-budget film was shot in only 35 days, making Singer's part as Soze more of a necessity than an artistic choice or a way to get himself into the film. But either way, it worked out in the end. Todd Phillips in Road Trip. Todd Phillips is not known for directing serious films, so it makes sense that his recurring director cameos are ridiculous. In films like Road Trip, Old School, and The Hangover, Phillips not only guarantees viewers a cameo, he plays a version of the same creepy guy. Audience's introduction to the character was in 2000's Road Trip, as the foot fetishist who licks Amy Smart's feet while she's asleep on the bus. The cameo is a fleeting moment that only confirms Smart's character's suspicions that all men are abnormal. In an already wacky film, Phillips' cameo stands out as one of the most bizarre for a film's director. M. Night Shyamalan in The Happening. M. Night Shyamalan is a director who started out strong but has become a major disappointment with each film he releases. His films are known for their absurd twist endings and his own forced cameos. While his appearances in previous films such as The Sixth Sense, Signs, or The Village were nothing close to hidden, his cameo in The Happening was uncharacteristically understated. For the 2008 thriller, Shyamalan voices the character of Joey, the co-worker of Zooey Deschanel's Alma. After going on a date with him, Alma is called multiple times by the fixated Joey. Even when viewers think they've made it through a movie without Shyamalan forcing himself as an actor, he still manages to sneak his way on screen. There's our list. What do you think? Which director cameos did we forget? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more great videos like this one. Thanks for watching.